Hey, random stranger, we are back on the pain train. I cannot believe that it is already the end of March, and I'm so sorry it took us so long to get us to episode 10. But yeah, life happened. I had to do a bit of traveling, but we are back now. And actually, on the road, I was able to rewatch Made in Abyss from the start through to where we left off last time, episode 9. And it is amazing how much more you can pick up on in just the first few episodes, knowing what you know happens in later episodes. So, to start with, I'm gonna quickly throw these extra details out there to see what you guys think. I won't ramble on too long, I'll try not to, because I'm pretty keen to get to the actual episode, as I'm sure a lot of you guys are as well. But I'm fairly certain that these are details that will come around again as very important in these next few episodes. So first off, the symbol on Reg's helmet that lights up every time he recharges matches the one that is on Lyza's whistle. And it's actually, I think, an eternal fortune. So that white flower that keeps popping up everywhere in the show, just as a kind of like a background recurring symbol. They're also called flowers of fortitude, and Lyza's supposed empty grave was in a field of those flowers. There's also an interesting connection to eternal fortunes and the fact that Lyza's former weapon, what's it called, Blaze Reap, is stocked with everlasting gunpowder. So I don't know, if I had to take a stab at the symbolism behind this flower, it feels like it's meant to signpost hope and strength in an abyss that is mostly about death and cutthroat survival and this deep darkness that seems to overcome everyone that descends into it. And Reg, being the only person who has successfully ascended from the bottom of the abyss and survived, he almost really has come to encompass sort of like that old trope of life and light overcoming and even transcending death and darkness. So I don't know, there's something there, that connection between Reg's creation and Lyza's fate, and I have a feeling that we're going to get hit with whatever that is very, very soon. And actually, Jason Brennan, he pointed out something interesting, that during the fight that Reg had with Ozen, the only time he actually lands a hit is right after he shouts out Lyza's signature catchphrase, the "You're irredeemable, Ozen." And that was a great pickup. I don't know what the significance is there, but yeah, again, I think we're going to find out really soon. The other thing about Reg's helmet, it seems every time he uses his incinerator, and every time that symbol lights up again, there are less marks on it than before. And I don't know if that's just that maybe there are only so many shots he can take with that arm, and given how crucial the incinerator has been to both his and Rico's survival, I think it's a little bit worrying. The other major theme that ran really clearly throughout the first 9 episodes, and was hinted at through the dialogue of several of the main characters, is this idea that everything that comes from the abyss or is supported by it must return to the abyss. And it was actually kind of surprising how early on this, I guess, ironclad law was laid down. So when Rico lost the star compass way back in the first layer, she basically said, well, it came from the abyss, and so it's gonna have to go back to where it belongs, sort of like in this defeated acceptance. And then Uncle Harbo, when he's sending the kids off to the Seeker camp, he also says a line about how, you know, they're all the abyss's children, and he knew that one day Rika was going to go and descend into the abyss, almost as if it's destiny, that everyone in Orth almost belongs to the abyss in some weird way, and particularly with Rico, given how she was born in the abyss and was given life by a relic of the abyss. So in a sense, her life on the surface was given on lease, and now the Abyss has come to collect, which is just another interesting way of thinking about why Rico always had such a strong desire to go down into it. Even before she suspected that Lyza was still down there, I feel like she was born with that inner drive, and it fits in with the whole, that piece of meat that Ozen just so casually stuck into the vessel, and it was given life, and then half of it died, but the other half just kind of went on a desperate, I guess, pilgrimage to the center of the Abyss. So Rico's life debt, I guess, if you want to call it that, to the Abyss, I feel is definitely going to come up somewhere. So I guess some price is going to have to be paid, and I'm predicting that it's going to tear Reg and Rico apart somehow. Man, there's so many other little details which I won't go into, but really appreciate a lot more after having watched it again. Things like, Ozen comes off a lot better on rewatch for some reason, and I guess because I'm more used to the idea now of the level of brutality that one has to get used to in order to survive in this world. And like, there's still a lot that is very wrong with our society, I think, no matter what standard you apply, but I get her more. The other cool little thing is Lita. Lita is a total badass. Having, I guess, the talent, one, to be scouted by Ozen herself, to be trained and, to accompany her down into the Abyss, but also having the balls or like the gumption to be like, no thanks, I'd much rather stick with Lyza. I do also have questions around, which is something I never really thought about before, but how the other foreign cave raiders enter the Abyss. Because I'd assume that, obviously there's only the one crater, and Orth is the city that has been built all over the entire mouth of the crater. And I'd assume with that being just the one city, it would be both legally and like physically under the control of a single country, unless different countries control different districts of Orth and hence different entry points into the Abyss, which is an interesting thought, kind of like the way that the European powers divvied up and colonized different parts of North America. So yeah, I don't know, just a random thought. All right, to cap off this section, I wanted to do a couple of comment shoutouts. There was some fantastic stuff on Lyza's character, and also the very complex topic of moral nihilism, which I briefly brought up in the last reaction. Man, I always learn something new from you guys, which is awesome. So please keep those comments coming. And it's funny because I don't care if you write an entire essay. Honestly, because from time to time I'll get these great longer comments, and at the end they'll just like cap it off with a little apology for being so long. But I love getting into these discussions, and anime, I have come to discover, deals with some pretty meaty topics at times. So thank you for even taking the time to write down your thoughts and share them, and don't ever apologize. Okay, so on Lyza, Millennia Delta had a great way of expressing Lyza's character contradictions, and I'm just going to quote from them a bit here. So here's a thought. What if she, Lyza, has an annihilator side, but was good at separating her life below from her life above? Work-life balance. In the Abyss, she reveled in adventure and conquering and violence, but in order to also have a life on the surface, not to mention a child, she was able to contain that part of herself. Maybe she left Rico after she realized she couldn't keep it up, and if she stayed in Orth too long, she might hurt someone. I totally buy that idea. People are complicated creatures, some more so than others, and I could totally see those, different sides of Lyza being in constant tension with each other. And I thought about it a bit more after reading that, as to why Lyza had to leave. And I think it was just a confluence of external factors plus, as you say, Lyza's internal conflict between the part of her that wants to stay with Rico and, nurture and take care of her, but also the other part that actually revels in the violence and the excitement of the abyss. Actually, on that, there was another great comment from Remedy Bug. So Lyza may be all shining blonde hair and blue eyes and seem the most human of the two white vessels that we've met, but it's mentioned in episode 2 that after carrying Rico up, she went back after the country who'd stolen the bell and slaughtered everyone in her way to bring it back. And this is the part I really liked. So you get a name like Immovable by being passive or defensive, but Annihilator would typically conjure up images of an extremely offensively minded baddie. Yeah. So I guess due to that Annihilator side, on the one hand, leaving was a way of protecting Rico from the danger of the foreign powers that be, who are probably super pissed at Lyza for very likely murdering a bunch of their cave raiders, to the point where Lyza had to keep Rico's existence a secret. But at the same time, as Ozen so artfully pointed out, there was probably also a part of her that just wanted to get another hit of the abyss juice, right? It was probably a part of her that she couldn't have kept under wraps for too long. And so it was just better for her to leave before she did, or she became something that would cause issues. Lastly, I'd mentioned how interesting it was that Orth and the people in it, well, most of them, as well as the narrator, seemed to take a morally nihilistic view of the world. And I said that in response to those last few lines that the narrator says at the end of episode 9. I'll probably repeat them here because I think it basically sums up or gives the entire moral framework for the entire show. So they said, yeah, so for all living creatures, death is sure to eventually come knocking. Death is an equalizer. It is an absolute truth. Nevertheless, people make the best use of their wits and courage. Struggling, floundering, they cling to life until the very end. And here's the kicker. You see, we actually like this unjust and unequal world. So to me, and how I read that was, why do people struggle to make a better life for themselves if they know that they're going to die in the end anyway? And the short answer is that if you manage to hustle enough so that you're in a better position than someone else by the end of it, the struggle would have been worth it. In other words, there's this extremely unjust and unequal world, but as long as you're sitting somewhere like at the top of the social hierarchy, life is good. As long as you're not the one who's been murdered or who has to go rag picking or die from some chemical poisoning, or who isn't stuck doing a menial job with no chance of glory as a cave raider, then you're good. In fact, we like the existence of injustice and inequality, as long as you're on top, because it justifies us struggling so hard and, probably carrying out some morally questionable actions along the way. Because if it's not me, it's going to be someone else. And so that's where the moral nihilism comes in that what is good is ultimately determined by what will get us ahead in this cruel, unforgiving world. So Nomad explained further this sort of nihilism really well. They wrote, the absence of absolute morality, as in morality that comes from outside of humans or humanity, doesn't necessarily mean that there is no right and wrong. Rather, that right and wrong are determined by us, humans, for different reasons. And then they give this good example of murder. So you can arrive at this idea that murder is wrong via different methods or, I guess, like reasons. So most people think that murder is bad due to, normal human empathy. Others are guided by generally socially accepted norms, and so on and so forth. And yeah, that clarification was really helpful because I think what I was trying to get at is that people's sense of right and wrong, in the world of Made in Abyss, isn't taken from anything objective, like some kind of external value system, like a religion or some kind of worked natural theory of human rights. So there's no objective morality in that sense. Instead, it seems like what is right and wrong is determined purely by what is good for the survival of yourself, for your loved ones, and I guess by extension for your country in the context of this great race to conquer the abyss. Another way to put this is how Akash Mondal put it. So, morality is enacted upon some goal that we are trying to achieve. We apply it on a case by case basis, meaning it might be subjective to some extent. What the narrator alluded here seemed to be addressing this grey area and how some people exploit it to gain certain advantages. Yeah, so very much in agreement there. And that brings us finally to episode 10. Who was it that said that this episode was going to be the cutest of them all? Elder Geldiev. Yeah, so I'm absolutely looking forward to a stress-free episode of wholesome fun and, just like a casual stroll through the fourth layer. I think, yeah, the fourth layer, the Goblets of Giants, which is where I believe Lyza's empty grave is. So I'm really keen to see what they find there. Alright, guys, this is it. Okay, so if you're good to go, let's play this in 3, 2, 1, go. I love how they just keep making the stew even as they go down. Rico's stew is the constant. It's like a lake? Green lakes? Kind of like hot springs. And it looks like a great place for onsen. Whenever a character says it's fine, it's not. Prey trapping mechanisms. Of course, everything is a competition, even with the plants. I don't know. That humidity is going to be an issue, it seems like. I guess they both know what's up, but Rico's just like, okay, you use my same level of optimism to deal with this layer. Hello, narrator. I love so at right up to this point, it's very clear that they speak of the abyss as it having its own character. I mean, one, it's a god who dispenses, good or bad according to its own will. Just like what they said there, it can either give you life-giving spirits or it can poison you. So, and humans are just caught up in this big, massive, egotistic abyss that can do whatever the hell it wants to you. There are the eternal fortunes that just keep popping up everywhere. And we still haven't seen the star compass yet. I wonder who's got it. Probably one of the White Whistles? I don't know. Who are apparently all hanging out on the fifth layer, the Sea of Corpses. I miss Marok back at the Seeker camp. I even kind of miss Ozen a bit, which is super weird. I always love that shot, the aerial shot of the abyss. We finally get to meet that character. Okay. Just too many. Something following them. That's weird because it's funny because Lyza, in Lyza's notes, she was like, I sense this presence watching me, which is that reg-like looking thing. Get out of this place too, where everywhere can kill you. I do not like this tension. There's no music, no talking, no nothing. It's like a platform game. She's not alright. It's a friendly presence, right? Ugh. It's like a spiky polar bear, an orb piercer with a bowling ball for a face. Yeah, maybe stop with the Wikipedia entry and just get the hell out of there. Just, oh, this is what Ozen was talking about, that there are creatures who are far more cunning than even she is. It plans, it remembers. Oh no. Yeah. So it knew to like disarm them. scaled umbrella. Have you seen that before? Did Ozen give them that? She's been stabbed, hasn't she? Oh my god. That's alright, it's just the hand on it's poisoned. Damn it. Oh my gosh, they're gonna have to amputate her arm, isn't it? She's gonna die of blood loss or the poison. Oh, this background music. The vocals. Yeah, I don't think you can afford to do that right now. So it's that thing moves by smell? Can't seem to see. So she's gonna die of poison or bleed out from ascending or blood loss. That is a great menu of options. Oh, I hate limb removal. What is this music? It's like evil orc music from Lord of the Rings. Oh no. Oh, I don't want to see it. I mean, I do. Like, oh, she hasn't bled out yet. I was expecting like blood just spurting out from everywhere. These are delusions. Oh, it's her vision. Oh, ooh. I'm so stressed. Oh my god. I don't. I just keep one eye open. Oh god. Oh. Oh, I'm bleeding from the eyes. Okay. Okay, calm down. Just calm down. No, mate. I think you need to take the entire hand off. Did that hurt? I just take it off. Uh. think you can stop asking her if it hurts. No, actually, she's quite logical. God, just do something. Ooh. I hate how he's so indecisive. It's killing me. It's killing her. That was what the bandit said about him. He sort of has like a weak mind. Don't drag it out. You gotta like saw at it. Oh my. Okay, it's okay. It's just a simple medical procedure. Oh my god, the way they're dragging this out. Yeah, exactly. Maybe they won't show. They're gonna show it, aren't they? Oh my god, just. Okay, they're not showing it. That's fine. Wait, so he just did it with the stone? Oh, he hasn't done it yet. What the? Oh, the bone. Oh. I hate these sound effects. They're so good and they're so awful. There's a feast. I don't know how he's gonna. Well, he is very strong, so he could hack through the bone, no problems. She's already passed out, so that's good. It's like a, well, it's not her first time dying, so. Oh my gosh, those. Ugh, that voice acting. So stubby. Fluffy stuffed doll. That's some bodysuit. It looks like they're wearing a bodysuit. Okay. It's funny that whoever this is, the way they speak is sounds very much like Ozen. It's kind of chill, seeing everything. I still got that bone to hack off. Hmm. I wonder how Reg knows to trust that. Well, I guess he can't. He just has no other choice. God, that looks just a piece of meat hanging off her. Well, she is a piece of meat, technically. Hmm. There's some kind of protective aura this place has. Oh, I remember that from the opening. What a home to have in a place like this. A hollow. I I mean, okay. Judging from this ending, it seems like they're a friendly fella. Um, but had I not known that or seen anything about them, I would be incredibly wary of the fact that they have several purple whistles just hanging on their wall and like trophies almost. Half of that episode was excruciating, or more than half. It just felt like it dragged on and on and on with the having to remove Rico's hand and then the bone, which is still hanging off her. Oh, God. I did manage not to look completely away, which I'm going to count as a huge achievement. The you know what really did it for me were the sound effects of one Rico's pain, the cries of pain, and then two the like when Ray brought down the rock to snap off the hand. Man, Nanachi. Okay, I'm I'm just I'm laughing because I expected gruesome bits, but the length of time that was spent focusing on Rico's pain and Reg's suffering as well from the terror of losing her was so calculated, and it was like everything, like the sound effects, the music, the voice acting, the visuals, it all came together for this one singular purpose, and that was to make the viewer feel like this is hell. This is absolute hell, and I hate it and I love it, but I hate it, and it cannot get any worse than this. I'm sure it will in the next few episodes. I have no doubt about that, but yeah, that was hard to watch. I will say that I was extremely impressed with Rico. The way that even when she was bleeding out and with her hand swollen to the size of like a pumpkin, that she held her cool, relatively speaking. She knew what had to be done if she was to survive this, the poisoning and all of that, and she talked Reg through it, and she had to deal also with him freaking out, not knowing what to do, and not being able to make those critical calls immediately, like, needing to first get out of the way of the orb piercer and then dealing with the hand, which, I can't blame Reg for, because God knows what I would do if I was in that situation. I think I'd just, yeah, I'd definitely pass out just from the shock of it all. I also loved that it called back to when the two of them were doing Ozen's survival camp. Um, and one of the bandits was observing them, and he made this comment that, Rico lacks physical ability, but she's very strong minded, while Reg is the opposite. So he's this very durable machine, but is swayed easily or can't really easily make up his mind. So that dynamic really played out in this life and death situation, and still, the two of them managed to pull each other out of the situation. Although not without the help of the new character, which we met finally, Nanachi, who seems will be the focus of the next episode. They have an interesting, I guess, creature-like look. They are called a hollow, which is a fascinating name that I have no idea what it refers to. Does it mean that they're hollow inside and have no soul? Do they collect the souls of others, brave enough to wander down into their corner of the abyss? And is that why they have this tiny collection of K Raider whistles and equipment just hung up all over their wall? I don't know. Like, I want to believe that they're a good character, but there's this, niggling at the back of my mind is, did Reg and Rico just escape the small terror and just walk right into the home of the real terror of the fourth layer? I don't know. So those are my quick initial thoughts. God, that was a task to get through, but a very highly enjoyable one. I look forward to reading what you guys thought about it, and onwards to episode 11. It definitely won't take as long in between reactions as last time. So until then, take care, guys, and stay safe out there.